Alright, here we go once again. Welcome back guys to the second UTR match of 2025. Last time I had a very close match against one of my friends, Eric, who is another UTR 8 as well as a USTA 4.5 player. And although that match wasn't the prettiest, we managed to come out on top in a very close 3 sets. So if you guys haven't checked out that video, go ahead and please give it a watch. It was some pretty fun tennis. And this time we have another familiar face on our channel, and this is gonna be Hassaan. So last time Hassaan handed me my only loss in my UTR season and also handed me my most viewed video, so I want to thank him for that. But he did hand me my biggest loss on this channel. I lost in straight sets to him, and let's just say I was not very happy about that loss. So when the draws came out this time for this Flex League season, I was very happy to see that I was able to play Hassaan once again. Now of course, I don't like playing Hassaan because if you guys don't know how he plays, he is pretty difficult to play against, especially for me. He is very fast, his footwork is unconventional, but it really works for him, and he slices every ball. So for me, with my extreme forehand grip, that is very difficult for me to handle. So yeah, so I was both looking forward to playing him, as well as not very excited to play him at the same time. And after reluctantly posting my video of my loss last time, I had a lot of people in the comments giving me feedback, both positive as well as negative, but very helpful and insightful feedback nonetheless. For the most part, there were some comments that were interesting. Guys, USTA is literally in the title of the video. And I even had coaches and friends and coaches that are friends make videos on this particular match, giving their insight, review, and just trying to help me improve my game. So I just want to thank everyone who left feedback, joined the discussion, made videos. You guys are awesome, and I encourage that discussion moving forward in this video, regardless of the result. So I have been working a lot on my weaknesses and the parts of the game that was exposed in my last match against Hassaan. And there are some things I did much better in this match, but there are some things where I wasn't able to do as well as I wanted to. Maybe it was the nerves of the match, maybe it's just the knowledge of losing to him last time, or maybe it's the added pressure of having to upload the video on YouTube, knowing how the last video went. But full transparency, this is probably the most anxious I have been leading up to a tennis match and even playing a tennis match. But enough talking, let's get right into the match. I am facing off against Hassaan, the junk ball king once again, and let's see how this one goes. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. And once again, trigger warning for those of you guys who came to see pretty tennis, I guess. And hope you guys enjoyed this video. Alright guys, welcome to the match. I just wanted to include some clips of the warm-up before we get into the match, just to show 2 things. For one, you can see that Hassaan isn't really slicing, he is just hitting normal ground strokes, which is just like last time. And for 2, I just wanted to include some clips of us hitting ground strokes because my ground strokes felt pretty off, and I was spraying, I was framing a lot, shanking the ball, and yeah, it just wasn't really feeling great for me, so that definitely affected my strategy moving into the match. So one more thing I want to clear up before I get into the video. In my previous video, I had a couple of comments talking about the whole pusher and junk baller terminology I was using, and I just want to say, when I use these terms, I pretty much am using the widespread term within the tennis community of how to describe this type of player, and I have no problem with that type of playstyle. In fact, I think if it works, it works, and I'm generally pretty impressed by these types of players because they are able to be a lot more patient and they're able to grind out the matches in their own way. So using the term junk baller or pusher by no means whatsoever downplays how good the other opponents are. And also, I have no problem playing these types of players. In fact, I think I rather play these types of players as I'm trying to get better in order to improve my own tennis, because the end goal is to get good at tennis, and I have to be able to beat these types of players in order to get better. So yeah, I just wanted to make that clear. I think it is a really beautiful thing about tennis where someone could have very unconventional playstyles and very unconventional footwork, do a complete ballerina twirl in the middle of a point, and still manage to make it pretty high in 4.5, win a bunch of matches, and get his UTR up to 8, which is really impressive. Unconventional does not mean bad. This player is really tricky to play, and you'll see in the video. Hope you guys enjoy this video. Yeah, let's see how this one goes. So we are starting off with Hassaan's service, and one thing I've noticed is that Hassaan's serve has gotten a lot better since our last video together. And I mean his first serve, when he makes it, it's pretty difficult to return. He just kind of smacks it down and it's pretty flat. But this first game was a bit interesting. I wasn't really pushing the pace, was being a little bit passive. I wasn't being extra aggressive like I planned to be coming into this match. And Hassaan actually gave me a couple of errors just trying to rally with topspin. Sort of deviated from his slices, which was interesting, but good on him for trying to diversify his game. But he went back to slicing really quickly after 2 points. And here once again, not trying to hit through the ball at all here, but just rallying from the baseline, hitting to the open court, move him around a little bit, and when I see the opportunity to rush the net, I get a pretty good volley off and get a break right off the bat. Being one break up early in the match really helps calm the nerves a little bit, but not by much because I remember still being very nervous at this point. I tried to go for a drop shot here, and after the drop shot I just stare at the ball, didn't really know where to move, and Hassaan places a really good ball that gets me in a lot of trouble. Now the drop shot is something that many people have commented telling me to do, try to bring Hassaan into the net, and I did try that a couple of times in this video, and whether it was effective, you'll just have to see. But I'm just saying, Hassaan is very fast. His style of tennis makes him very good at placing balls in awkward positions, and also I can't drop shot for my life. So there you have it. And this point right here sums up how I was feeling during these first couple of games. I wasn't going for anything, playing pretty passively like I mentioned earlier, trying to get a feel for my ground strokes just to get myself warmed up and into the match, and at the same time just doing everything I can to keep the ball in. And I do try to move him around a little bit, but my shots weren't penetrating, they were a bit slow, and he's able to hit this drop shot on me at the very end, just taking advantage of my slow pace. And here, seeing the opportunity to come in, get a good setup shot there, and I hit my go-to forehand volley, where it doesn't even hit my strings at all. So now it is one game apiece, and it is Hassaan's serve once again. So one thing everyone commented on in our last video is to call my opponent, which is Hassaan, out on his foot faults. And my question to that is, when they step in after the toss, as they're about to serve, am I really supposed to be looking at their feet, or am I supposed to be looking at the ball that is coming towards me? I just think overall, unless they're 2 feet inside the court, it's really hard to see if your opponents are foot faulting, and I'm more worried about returning the serve rather than getting a free point from staring at their feet the entire time, but that's just me. And here, after a very long rally, I dinked the ball into the net. Just missing a bit too much at the moment. I'm starting to play Hassaan's game, playing at the slow pace, and that is a trap I fell in last time. So it does cause my footwork to slow down a little bit, and also causes some pretty poor movement, just like in these 2 points. So missing that forehand volley at the end of the last game made me a bit gun shy to come in at the net, and that, along with the fact that my shots didn't really feel great coming off my racket at this point, probably just caused me to play more passive. And here, coming in, once again, the right decision to make. I hit my signature backhand volley, which misses the line by around 10 feet. But jokes aside, that volley was terrible. I apologize for everyone watching at home, and hopefully for you, the viewer's sake, as well as my UTR rating's sake, you guys don't have to see much more of those in this video anymore. But we are down 1-2 now, and it's starting to look like our last match. So ground strokes starting to feel a bit more warmed up at this point, even though that was a bad forehand to miss. No reason I should have missed that. If you guys can't tell already, one thing I tried to do was to take advantage of my forehand spin. A lot of times when I get out of position, I would just loop the ball back at him, ideally to his backhand. And here I go for another one of my garbage drop shots. doesn't work. And luckily, I catch him a bit out of position after he drop shots me. But yeah, just using that forehand spin to try to get me out of trouble sometimes. And later on, you'll see me use that a lot more. Right now, I'm still trying to figure things out a little bit. Another super long point here, but I managed to come out on top in this one. And like I said, I'm not hitting through my balls, I'm just rallying with him, playing at his pace, sometimes giving him very high balls to deal with. And although this wasn't my plan coming into this match, but at the moment I am winning a lot of points through just grinding in these rallies, and I tie it up back to 2-all. In our last match, this is the point where I stopped winning games, so let's hope this doesn't happen this time. And this was a pretty ugly point at the net, not able to put away the ball, but still, I'm putting a bit of pressure on when I come in and making him try to hit a passing shot against me. So a bit of frustration on Hassaan's end this time. So I have 3 breakpoint chances, and I'm just going to be a lot more patient in these rallies, being more willing to have these long rallies. I'll get a good chance to come in and once again hit that signature forehand volley of mine, completely missing the mark. So I missed 2 chances to break, and I do have one more chance until it gets to 40-all. Trying not to let that thought creep up and think about the possibility of losing this game after having 3 breakpoints, but still, definitely something I thought about. And a bit awful decision on my end, and I lose my breakpoint opportunity. Telling myself I really need to lock in to get this break because I know it will be mentally tough for me to lose this game after having 3 chances to break. And here I get another chance. And finally managed to finish it off at the net. Get a break, making it 3-2. And if I manage to hold my serve here, that would be really great because I could extend my lead even further. But let's see. Here I try to drop shot again, pull him in. I don't get a great one, but I managed to pull him in, which makes it much easier for me to win the point. I haven't been consistently drop shotting because Hassaan tends to get to the drop pretty well and sometimes hits some pretty crazy short angle out of nowhere on it and puts me in a bad spot. Here I close in at the net once again, get a bit of an awkward volley, but instead of committing and swinging through it, I just stick my racket out and try to direct the ball into the corner. It gets the job done, and I get a much needed hold that extends my lead even further in the set. And this point right here is a prime example of why Hassaan's shots are very tricky for me. Maybe it was also the conditions and the balls we used, but his shots come in super low, and I'm a bit slow on my feet today, so I have trouble stepping into it to crack a ground stroke. And then he's also really good at just placing his slices. Get a good drop shot here, managed to pull him in. Now I backed up to give myself a little bit more space to see where he hits it. I hit a pretty poor backhand lob and he's able to finish it at the net. So yeah, he is capable of finishing at the net, and maybe I should have just moved in after my drop shot, but I guess I'll have to learn from that mistake. So I get caught by a drop shot in a couple of points here, and I'm telling myself at this point that I just need to be patient. I think the hard part is watching this video. I should be coming in and staying at the net and really committing to finishing at the net, but I'm playing like I'm a bit too comfortable at the baseline, probably because I missed half of my closing volleys so far, which definitely made me shy to rush in at the net during points. But even though I'm not playing the way I want to, I still managed to bring this game back to deuce. And here Hassaan gets me with another drop shot, and then we get into this point here with another super long rally. So my strategy during this time is pretty clear, I think. Just taking pace off my shots, trying to stay in the rally, essentially just pushing with him. You can see me sometimes just go down the middle, not even trying to hit one way or the other. Other times I will move him around a tiny bit, but I wouldn't really go big with my shots at all. I'm just cutting my power in about half, trying to be more consistent, and honestly, it doesn't make for very pretty tennis on camera at all, but the goal for me was to win, and here's the reason for this. I felt like I was missing too much during my warm-ups, my ground strokes didn't feel great, and when I tried to swing out and be aggressive, I would just often spray. I didn't want to expend a lot of effort and energy just to hit heavier because, to be honest, whether I hit my shots at the pace I have been or I increase the pace by a couple miles per hour, Hassaan deals with it just fine, and I'm never going to be able to hit hard enough, at least in this match, to be able to just hit through him. So I'm going to be just wasting a lot of energy for the same outcome in these points by just trying to hit harder. So instead, I'm just trying my best to stay patient, rally with him, and hit high to his backhand when I can, move him around more than he does for me, and if I see an opening, I'll come in. But I see no reason to expend extra effort trying to force a type of ball I'm not really comfortable trying to hit right now. Go a bit too big in the points, maybe losing a bit of patience, so honestly not really sure if this strategy of mine is working, but we'll have to see. So it is 4-3 now, I'm still up one break, but after that long rally I told myself maybe I can be a little bit more aggressive. Obviously, still will try to play smart, but I'll come in a bit more often. If I need to dial back, then that's fine. I'll just go back to doing what I have been doing earlier, and let's just see how this adjustment towards playing a little bit more aggressive works. Here at 30-40, I get a chance to close out this set. Now, the thought for me at this point is I just needed to lock it down and not miss. But I did see an opportunity to come in here, and just the act of coming in, forcing him to try to hit a passing shot, was enough to force an error. So I take down the first set 6-3, and even though I won the first set, I really needed to make sure I don't fall apart in the second set. For one, Hassaan's style of play is very exhausting to play against, and I'm thinking if I extend this further, I feel like Hassaan is only going to get better or get used to this game style, which he actually does. He already does seem to be getting more and more comfortable apart from being frustrated at times. I do see him being a lot more consistent than the first couple of games. So at this point, I really didn't want this to go the distance and just had to play my best tennis in set 2. So let's see how this set goes. So carrying the momentum from the first set over, get a pretty easy hold here. Hassaan misses a ball at the very end that he shouldn't have missed, but to be fair, that was the first topspin forehand he hit in about an hour, so can't really fault him for that. And moving forward, I am continuing to play a bit more aggressive following the first set. Even though sometimes the finishes aren't the prettiest, at least I'm getting the job done by just moving forward. Here I get a break at 30-40 by doing something I was mentioning within the first set, which was just to lob to his backhand. Now, honestly, I had that plan in the back of my head this entire time, lob to his backhand and charge the net. However, I didn't really execute on that much, and I didn't really want that to be the only strategy I have in this match. I wanted to try other stuff. So at 15-all, I went for this forehand. And not really sure if Hassaan's command was directed towards me missing the ball or just letting out frustration, but regardless, I didn't hear it when playing the match, but just noticed it while watching back, and just gonna play my game still. I think I did let off the gas a bit in this game compared to the previous few, and maybe getting a little bit tired. Anyways, I do feel like I'm still able to get the job done, whether it is just to play safe and push back with him, or just to come into the net a lot more and play more aggressively. So I get another hold here, making the score 3-love and extending my lead. And without spoiling this game too much, there is always a point in my matches where I start to lose a bit of focus and my game falls apart a bit. It typically is a snowball effect, one bad point, one missed overhead or volley, and the rest of my game gets a little bit shaky afterwards. And I think this is the point of the match where it kind of happens. So this game gets a bit, let's just say, interesting and maybe a bit frustrating to watch. So I'm just gonna let it play out.
Good shot.
Jeez, I'm like 0 and 5 on forehand volleys today. But don't let this distract you from the fact that Hassaan literally did the Muhammad Ali shuffle to recover in that point. So anyways, 3-1 here, and a hold here would be nice. I can kind of feel my energy levels going down, and I just need a little bit of a push to get myself back into it. I'm getting a lot tighter in these last couple of games, not playing as great as I did in the first couple of games in this set. So hopefully I could keep up this lead, and we'll just see how this goes. Okay, so right here, I'm gonna leave this in the video because this affected my game moving forward a tiny bit. So the context is, these two people walked into the court during my serve, which was fine. I actually didn't even complain about it. So they asked me specifically when I got onto the court. So I honestly told them around 6 o'clock. So then they were like, okay, so it's 6:50 right now and you'll be off in 10 minutes, right? And they were pretty aggressive about it, which definitely irritated me quite a bit. So then I told them to fuck off. Okay, just kidding. But I explained that we were in a match. Ideally, it wouldn't be more than 20 to 25 minutes, and it wouldn't be much longer for them to wait. But then we just went back and forth for quite a bit, and because they were being very aggressive about it and kind of rude, I was not really budging, and I told them that there were many other courts around that they could have just asked. Also, the pickleball courts next to us were also open and free to use for tennis players. Honestly, I don't know if they were just lazy or didn't want to play on those pickleball lines, but it was just very annoying. I was a little bit pissed off after this, and it definitely affected my game a little bit, and you can see me just double fault here. But hopefully it won't affect my game too much more, but let's just see what happens. So even though we double faulted, we managed to hold our serve. Now it's 4-1. We have 2 more games until we win this thing, and just trying to tell myself to keep my strategy up because currently it is working for me and just gotta keep playing my game. So just based on how long the video has been so far, and I've even cut out points, you guys could tell that this was a pretty physical match. It has been pretty long, a lot of long rallies, but the job is not done here. I remember Hassaan played against Eric last UTR season, and Eric was the player I played in my last UTR match. Eric was up 5-1 and Hassaan managed to come back, and they had to play a tiebreak in that set. So I'm not trying to let that happen to me here, and we'll see how this one goes. Alright, so right now it is 5-1, and I'm just 1 game away from winning this entire match. And here, just have to keep it up, and okay, not a good time to double fault, but let's just keep moving. And I'm just trying to finish strong. Can feel the fatigue setting in for me. Once again, it is 5-1. I do not want Hassaan to come back 5 games here and push me to a tiebreak, and trying to finish as strong as I can, but you guys will soon see in this game, I was pretty nervous. Finally, a high forehand ball to the backhand came into play once again in our third match point that we got, and we finally close it out 6-3, 6-1. And get the win in this rematch. So Hassaan's UTR was in the lower mid 8 range before this match, and this win put me back into the middle of UTR 8 once again. And anyways, I'm glad I was able to improve on some things in a couple of months. Not my volleys apparently, but definitely did some things better. Alright, so that was an interesting match, guys. So if you guys have watched up to this point, I want to thank you guys for watching this entire match and making it through some pretty ugly points. I want to quickly detail, just like in my last video against Hassaan, my thought process throughout this entire match. Obviously this time it went better for me, but even though it did go better for me, I feel like a lot of these games, just like last time, went to deuce. We had break points, he had break points, and there were a lot of chances where it could have went both ways, right? And there are for sure a lot of things I still need to work on. In fact, a lot of the things I thought I worked on before this match, I wasn't able to execute in the match, including just many forehand volleys where I just completely frame it. The beautiful thing about being able to record yourself and watch yourself play tennis when doing YouTube is you get to see like all these small details. So I was able to pick up on a lot of things that I was able to take advantage of against Hassaan just from watching the last video, and one of it was just the backhand. A lot of times in this match, I just targeted Hassaan's backhand. If I needed to get out of trouble, I will lob it to his backhand and just try to reset. And yeah, so that typically was my get out of jail free card in this match. Whenever I was in a little bit of trouble, whenever he was pushing me back, instead of trying to get a very good heavy shot off, I would just lob it to his backhand and try to at least reset the point. If not, put him on the back foot and try to come in off that ball. So that was where I won a lot of points, including the last point, which was match point, a very important point. And another thing I did was, I think I mentioned this a lot of times in my commentary, was just to take pace off. So in the first video, I was pretty tired after a first couple of games. I was still trying to hit hard, and I realized that with his backspin, with his slices, I have a lot of trouble generating pace in the first place, especially with my forehand grip and also my very flat backhand. When the ball sits low for me, I have a lot of trouble really stepping in and striking it. And with the nerves and the pressure of the match, your footwork isn't going to be all there, at least for me at this moment. I feel like I wasn't really able to step in and just crack his ball like I would do normally if I was just practicing. So I decided to go the more consistent route. And against another type of player, this might have worked against me because they probably could just hit through me or take advantage of it. But I felt like because Hassaan is such a defensive player, his shots are all slices. He doesn't have a lot of attacking power unless I really give him a really easy ball. So for me, I was able to sit back a little bit and just grind with him, try to be a little bit more patient. And I think there were a lot of things maybe on his end that maybe helped me a little bit, including some errors in very key moments, as well as a little bit of frustration on his end, which maybe led to my favor. And like I mentioned, these things, you know, this is just one match. Last match was maybe not a good match for me. This match was maybe not a good match for him. But all in all, these are the things I was trying to think about while playing against Hassaan, and I think it worked. Now, if we play each other again, I really do want to work on a lot of other things because I feel like I could have really played a lot better this match than I did. So I definitely still have a lot to work on. So anyways, that was some very short analysis. It could have been good, it could have been helpful, or it could have just been a bunch of BS. Let me know in the comments if you think what I said made any sense whatsoever. And that's it. By the way, if you guys want to also record yourself and pick up on the little details and mistakes you are making in your game, be sure to check out Swing Vision down in the description below. Now, I know I've said this many times in my other videos, but it is truly very helpful. It did help me a lot from my last match against Hassaan to this match. It really helped me see what I was doing wrong, what I could have improved on, and things I could have worked on between these two matches. So it helped me out a lot, and I'm sure it will help you improve your game if you just record yourself and watch yourself play, because trust me, everyone thinks they look really good at playing tennis. I thought I looked really good at playing tennis until I saw a video of my forehand. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys got this far, I appreciate you. Please do consider leaving a like, as well as comment down below if you got this far in the video. Comment this thing right here, whatever I put right here. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next video for another episode of Road to UTR 10 or whatever other video I decide to post. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment, do all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys next time.